think of a time when you were a part of a team, maybe in a school project, maybe in a corporate task force, even a family discussion, and everything just clicked. Ideas flowed, people trusted each other, and result exceeded expectations. Now, think of a time when the opposite happened. The same people, maybe even better resources, yet tension lingered. The communication broke down, success felt out of the reach. Why does that happen? Same people, different outcomes. The answers lie in something individual yet powerful, the behavior of a people within the system, their values, their beliefs, their motivations, and culture they operate in. That invisible force is what we call organizational behavior. And today, we won't just understand it, we will explore how it is shaping companies across the globe, influencing innovations, teamwork, and leadership. Because to lead people, must first understand them. And to understand them, you need to understand behavior. So let's begin.
I think that's a good definition of organizational behavior. And we now understand OB. We call it OB, right? Short form of organizational
Yes,
behavior,
yes.
Nidhi. OB.
OB is like a short form, and like in a professional language, we will like OB is stand for organization behavior. So that
Uh,
is true. That is true. That is there.
yeah. I think
So
you mentioned the study of behaviors, right? In your earlier comment, the study of behaviors between
yes,
people, and I would say between people and between the culture of the organization and the people, because sometimes the culture of the organization is different and the people behavior is different, so that there is a thin line of difference, or maybe kind of we can
see,
say that, yeah, there is a lot of friction between both. Would you like to share
yeah,
something?
I agree. Actually, it's a study of like if we go, like as you mentioned the definition as well as if you've gone through this, OB is a study how individual and group behaving within the organization. Because
Hmm.
you clearly already mentioned in the definitions, but when it comes to the OB study, it will like individual and groups, and obviously culture, HR policies, and other things is also important for us. So that is there, and like why it's so much importance in the organization, because it is enhancing the productivity and satisfactions and informs the better leadership decision as well as we when we are going through the whole session, then I will come across the with example also like how it is build a strong organization culture is also important. Like this is a very main factor where we have to look forward, and when we are drafting the policy as well as we have to consider all the parameters. So this is one of the, I think all of those who are belong from HR, they know that like how we are aggressively understanding and doing experiment. No, we have to use this, we have to use this matrix, and we have to make the policy and strategy and all these things. So that is very good thing, which I can say like in the study. So it is depends on individual group as well as the organization, like how we are the culture of the organization. That's true.
Hmm. So, and I think this is not only for an HR to study about organizational behavior. I think the whole line managers, the right from the CEO level.
Everyone, they even though if I say is a real world example is a Google applies OB for employee innovations, like there is psychological safety, like individual and team behavior. They implemented this concept, and like they increase their result 90% more innovative. So this
Hmm.
is like one of the example. Google is a well known, everyone is using Google every a second, like I can say. It's not about like I just using Google only, or it's well known company. So this is like they also implemented their employees behavior and team and individual everything, and they implemented, and then they find out no, it is increasing the productivity 90% more innovative way and all these things. So that is a good thing, which I also said like it's not for a I will also say like it's not for HR, it's for everyone. But yes, obviously, why I include HR, because when we are drafting policy, we have to keep so many things in the mind and we have to
Yes.
draft strategy and policies. That's why I included this one. But yes, obviously, being a supply manager, being a operation manager, being other, we have to keep in mind this is very important factor for us.
Yeah. And one important subject here to understand in organizational behavior is the differences between people. How different are people from each other in an organization? How do individual differences um, basically affect the organizational performance? So that is a right way to think about, because in an organizational setting, if you have different people working on different project, and their obviously their character, their thought process will be different. Some would be thinking in a very narrow way, some would be thinking in a very wider objective, some would be getting the whole idea, some would be getting only that thing which is coming up in front of them. So how do these differences affect the whole performance of the company?
So for this, I would say like as you mentioned already, like personality, value, attitude, and perceptions. The diverse personality type of contribution to hinder a project or team. Like I would say, when it comes to the different all these things, that's why we implemented policy, SOP, SLA, these kind of things, which is like implemented in the organization to smooth going functions in every aspect, not in a one aspect, in a every aspect, I can say. So that's the reason we should be understand like obviously in home also we have a different perspective, because we have a different in our hand is also the different fingers are there. So same like organization is also there. So this is what I can say. Like we have to be like person is like person for job and job person is organization. It should be fit. That is the balance should be there. This is what
Yeah.
I can say in this scenario.
Would you like to share any case studies based on your experience on this particular subject?
I read one case study, which is like NASA case study, which is
Okay.
like NASA is well-known organization. Instead of my real example, I would like to give the NASA example. The NASA Challenger disaster occurred on 28th January 1986. When the Space Shuttle Challenger is there, broke down apart within the 73 seconds
Mhm.
after the launch, leading to death of 7 crew member on board it. In this, the organization behavior insight is the group think NASA and contractor Morchan ignored engineer concern due to the pressure to launch. And there is a poor risk management. The safety warning overruled to meet the schedule and the public expectation. There is so much expectation to launch on a time and all these things, but the poor risk management was involved, which is like organization obese insight is there. That is, we have to be concerned about our employees and our team member as well. So, lesson is like tragedy highlighted important the ethical leadership, because here is a lack of the ethical leadership, psychological safety, and open communication in the organization. Because when we are working in an organization, sometimes we are hesitating to talk about our concern to the
Yeah.
manager, even though if it is a small, even though if it is a silly,
Yeah.
I will say silly ideas. We should discuss, we should communicate. It should be a transparent. It should not be like, oh, if I say what my manager will say, what my line manager will say, if I say this thing, it will be work or not. You should not be prejudiced for about your idea and strategy. You should discuss what you have. And while you're working in a team, in a project, in this thing, you should be understand like what is the content and what the project has to be lead. And as I mentioned, ethical leadership and psychological safety is also ignored by them. So we have to learn from them. We have to keep in mind when we are doing something, this should all involve in our day-to-day task as well as like so many things are there. So then they after this challenge, they lead to measure overall like they improve the safety protocol, they communication process improve, attention to organization culture. They improve their culture. So this is what I can say. They improve their culture and they improve a lot. So in this scenario, in this case study, we have to learn so many things. In organization behavior is really very important in every organization to increase the diverse opinion, which is one thing I would say. The another thing is like promote the psychological safety, because people will having a scareness like if I tell my manager what will be the next, maybe I lose my job, maybe I lose my this thing, or maybe I cannot do this. No, we have to give them the comfortable zone, because we always call organization is our second home. We are working here, so this kind of phrases we always use. Being as HR, we are also like, even I'm also telling like we are a part of a family. We are this thing. So I would say like even I am also implementing in my organization. Like if anything is there, you just come, feel free to contact me anytime. And if anything is there, you can tell us like what is your point of view. Maybe it is a blue collar employee or white collar employee, it doesn't matter, because silly idea or silly advertisement, or even though there are so many example, it's came with like very silly thing, like I was just driving, I was just doing this, and I get this idea. So it's like this way.
When you're speaking on these examples, two things which came up to my mind was one is the communication, which you said is the key, the openness between people. You know, many projects fail because there is no communication, because there is no transparency. As you mentioned, this case study, very horrific accident, and
Yeah.
how many billions of money lost. This is one example, and there are a lot many examples. If you see in the past history,
Yes.
many tragic accidents, many projects lost because of communication.
Yes.
uh, that is very key, and at all levels, I would say it's not like between the only the managers. At all levels of organization, communication is the key. uh, you mentioned key aspects there. I mean, it is the one element. What you mentioned is the openness, which we need to have with our team members, and also the family concept that struck me. You know, companies often these days says that we are a family. I mean,
Yeah.
the question which comes to my mind: Are you a family? I mean, are we really a family? This is how we treat your family members. So, would you like to share
That
something, a thought process on that?
actually, to be honest, while it comes to the organizations, or like even not even like when it's we are entirely different when we are working.
Yeah,
And this is like myth. We are a family. No, we are not a family. We are doing our job. And when we are doing a job, it's not like that. That's why we set some strategy, policy, and all these things with related to the organization behavior, because we have a different personality in our organizations, and different perspective, different ideas also. So we have to align with this. So organization behavior is one of the factor which is very important to consider. And as you mentioned, like family, yes, we are not it is a myth. We are entirely different in the family, because in the family we have emotions.
mm,
In organizations and corporate, sometimes emotions is very ignored, because the meeting will be like prolonged till 9 o'clock. There is no work life balance, there is nothing is. It's like we have to work, you have to work. Sometimes there is bias things is also there. We are not in bias in a family, right? But we are being a person, or like we, it's happened not because
yeah,
of purposefully. It's just like because of intentionally we are not doing anything wrong, but it is like we are just did something with the bias, or there is so many things are there which we are doing like that.
yeah,
So when it comes to the culture and employee behavior, we should be like shared some values, belief, and norms. That's why I'm just like keep focusing on like telling you like there is a SLA, SOP, strategic things are there,
yeah,
and like that is the reason like where is like where we are shaping our culture of the organization. And whenever we join the company, we are like asking about the question. It's a most common question in every new joiner or candidate, like what is an organization culture, what is how it is, how it will be, uh, do I am doing good to join this company or not. So that is like there, so that is even I stopped telling to any new trainer or new person, like, "Okay, this is like family and all," because I know it's a corporate and you are coming for a work. Yes, there is some norms you have to follow and follow. That is, there is no other rule for us to overrule anything. That is what I can say.
Yeah, I mean, it's a strategic move when organization call their company as a family oriented, or maybe say the employees as a family. It's a strategic move. I agree with that, but then, as you said, there are a lot of other factors which needs to be also considered. When are we treating the same to our family? No, we are not treating the same to our family. But then,
Yeah.
uh, should we actually treat your employees like a family? Yes, we should treat your employees like a
Yes, that is
family.
true.
Yeah.
That is true. But in some constant and some note, you cannot treat as an employee as a family member on certain notes.
Mm,
There is like, if I am like working as an HR, so if I come across any incident like which is I cannot ignore, I cannot overrule, I cannot do anything. That time I have to go with the norms only. That is what is like my point of view. So
absolutely.
if you have to follow with the management and approvals is also there. And again, it's organizational behavior part or is organization culture is involved in this. So many factors are there: psychology, individual, group decision, even management decision. Sometimes we are like bonded, like we cannot help the people. I would recommend, like, I would say one example of mine only. I have to give the termination one employee, and she was like begging me I should not do that. But I was bonded. I have to do, and I have to keep my emotions away, and I have to follow it by law because we are giving everything to her, like by rule. We are giving 3 months salary, we are keeping her visa, we are giving gratuity, we are giving everything. But still, we have to tell her, no, you have to leave. So that is very harsh truth to the person to accept because it's their bread and butter. So that
Yeah.
time we cannot be say with the empathy. Yes, we will empathize to the employee. We will say with the empathy and moral and everything. But in a reality, it does work like a family? No, no. So that is
Yeah.
the example of mine only. It's
That
a
is the
real
hard fact.
example. I faced that one. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that is
being a HR, it's very difficult to give anyone to termination and all these things. So it's really difficult. And I feel personally, for me, it's like a very challenging and tough role to sometime like to say no or to say like I can't do anything for you. It's really very difficult.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. So we were talking about organizational behavior. We spoke on some kind of individual differences which affects the organizational performance. What are the key elements of the OB model which you would like to propose to our audience?
Yeah, as I mentioned, the like trains of organization behavior, like we should raise of hybrid work and remote works and all these
Yeah,
things, emotional intelligence, like like in the most of the organization, we are not thinking about to give the training of employees and do more training sessions. It's sometimes cost, sometimes free of cost with the HR. It's an internal thing. But yes, we should work on so many things uh, like nowadays the AI is booming,
yeah,
automation part is there, impacting the roles. Obviously, this is all the parameters. Like if I'm talking about, there is an age difference also in the organization culture. That is a big factor. Like let's say example, one person is 40 years, another person is like 20 years, so there is a thought process difference, there's thinking difference. So that 40 years old guy, he was like learning process and learning perspective is different due to his experience. But the new guy who just complete the graduation and just like landed with the job with the oh, they there is a cooperative culture, they have a mindset, like they have a myth like, oh, if we go, we will sit in the cabin and we will do all these things. So there is like thought process and everything is very different. So that time, as I mentioned like earlier, the organization behavior and our behavior and individual behavior, that time we have to balance all these things with the different training or different modules, different aspects. We have to do that, and then it's like we can cover all these areas. That's
yeah.
what I can say. So there is most of like even though nowadays in even in my company, I will take mine example. In my I will not take name of my company, which one it was. Like, but in my company, there were like only few nationalities. I did the diversification to hire another nationality. At that time, my company category, because in UAE the category is there. So category A, category B, and C is there. So my company was in category C. But when I did this diversification, that time my company become category A or B. So that is how we have to diversify. It's not about the diversification in only in a paper, in a graph. It should be in a different perspective or different perspective. You have to be do like that. So that is what I can say. And as I said, like global talent mobility, it's not like we are stuck in a one place. We should be give to chance and opportunity to do all these things to the different places. Even like as you mentioned before starting the session, please comment where you are and location at least. So we will like this is a even Zoom is also the example. Like we are Zoom, LinkedIn, all these social media we can connect anywhere, and even though we are anywhere in the globe. It's not like that. So that is also like something which is like our behavior and other things is correlated with our life examples as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you mentioned some key facts there on organizational behavior. Uh, and we've been getting few questions as well. Before going to the questions, I would like to also ask, what are the challenges modern workplaces face these days in terms of OB?
As I said, diversification, now it's opposite. The cross-cultural management is there. Digital transformation is a stress. It's not easy because when you check with the IT team, they will say it's a lots of work and lots of things because automation, digitization is not that much easy in a wider way. That is also there. Work-life balance, integration versus balance. There is like very small thin line, and managing the multi-generations team, which I already included my example before. And the ethical and data privacy is also one of the concern. Like if we do the ethics by ethics, we are doing correctly or not, that is also there. And constant need to be upskill, which is already I mentioned, like we have to be give more training and practices and all these things, then only we can do in a better way. So these are the challenge which we are like, we can say we can face it when we are doing all organization behavior aspects testing.
Yeah. You mentioned digital transformation stress. I mean, this is really a stress because when the company is going through a complete 360-degree transformation, especially in the digital front, I've experienced that setting up an ERP, or maybe setting up a human resource information system. There is a lot of stress, not only from the IT segment, but also from the HR teams as well, also from the other operational teams
Yeah.
as well. It's a cross.
There is lots of things which we cannot do in the paper and which we cannot be do into the digitalization, and it will take time. Even I am working with the Russian management, so they give me a task to do the payroll on the Russian software, and
Oh,
I was blank totally how I will do. But on the certain note, I just learned the Russian and I just used a translator, and then I just complete the payroll, and then I was like, oh, thank God, I completed my payroll. So it was like for the like their data they cannot transfer in the English language, and I have to be learn in the Russian language. So that is what I learned from the my experience. Like I have to be learn what they are giving me. So sometimes it is very stressful because they cannot understand English and I cannot speak more Russian language. I can speak only elementary. I can do only few things, but how I will do? So this is also the biggest challenge to the digital things. Stress will be there. Not even IT. I just took IT because IT is a person who will
yeah.
develop so many things like ERP and software and all. And even most of the time when I stuck with this software things, I will go to the IT team. That's why I took IT name. It's a strike in my mind. But yes, obviously, as you mentioned, operational other parameters is also there to all these things. So that is true.
Yeah, so I've also closely worked with different transformations in my whole career journey. I completely resonate what you say. The different feedback from the stakeholders it's very, very critical. When you're working on a transformation project, especially when a digital transformation is planned, I think it would take quite a long period of time for people to digest what is the transformation, the
Yeah,
change management. I mean, behaviors really change during the implementation stage. Don't take the implementation stage. It is like when you roll out to the employees that this transformation is
yeah,
going to
that's true.
come. So there is a lot of, I would say, a lot of comments or maybe feedbacks on what outcomes we are going to achieve out of this digital transformation. So, work-life integration versus balance, which you mentioned in terms of work-life integration versus balance. These days, people suffer from pressure. The commute is one pressure.
Yes,
The commute to the towards the workplace and then coming back. That is one element out of it. The second would be the workplace itself is it's like a burning pot, I would say. Lots of tasks to be done within a less amount of time. Would you like to share something
yes.
on work-life pressure versus balance?
See, it depends. I would not say more about it because it depends organization to organization. But I would say one thing. I was like my home in Karama, and my office in Dubai South. So
Ah,
I just like go through the all the way, and I have to take my office cab and metro and all these things. So I know how it is difficult because I am spending during the like 4 hours in a travel. So how much stress it is, that's what I can say. So yes, obviously I can shift to Karama to Dubai South because Al Maktoum Airport is very far. But obviously where leave from past from 6 years, so I was like, no, I should be here and explore this thing. Yeah, obviously there is so other alternatives are there. So sometimes I have to balance, and that's how my company is giving me in a week to like you can go for the remote work. And when the flood was there in UAE, that time they just give me for 15 days work from home. That is like I was like thanks to them they give me opportunity to like to you can stay. They are caring the employee, so this is also the job satisfaction is involved. So the organization culture and behavior is matters. So this is what I can say as of now.
yeah, and when the organization is giving you an opportunity to upskill, to reskill your talents, your knowledge base, that is also when organization really, really are successful also. Because if you have an organization where the focus is on people, we say people first organizations. Uh,
Yes.
you mentioned that in your conversation that there is a constant need for
Yes, yes.
upskilling. Organizations really fail these days because they don't care about what people would like to achieve in their future. But there are organizations who also care that, okay, I want my team to be in the next 1 year achieving some greater objectives in life, not only in career, in life as well. So the need for upskilling is very important. Would you like to share something on that?
Yes, obviously we should be upskill as I am so even I am also nowadays like I'm learning Arabic language. It's not
Mm.
given by tasks by my organization, but I want to upskill my knowledge all the time. So, and even if I'm talking about my journey, I've I went one interview. I will take my another example. I went for one interview, and that manager, general manager, he asked me some question. I gave all the answers, and like he was like when I said I'm working with Russian only, he was like, "Oh, you're working with Russian." He was surprisingly thinking about me like how I am working with only I am Indian and working with them. So that is like something is a challenge for me also like to work with a different nationality. Obviously, it is a diversity of them, but it's really challenge or all these things are there. Like we have to be learn, update. So while working with them, I learn elementary Russian language. And now I'm learning like Arabic language because I feel when you are staying in a like UAE, like a state, so you should learn this something language because as I mentioned earlier, is also communication is important. So when it's communication, if you are not able to speak their words, they will not connect with you. And the connection is not there, then you cannot give the proper masses. And it should not be proper decode also. So that is the one of the things which I can say I can include in this. Like we have to be upskills every time. Even as I mentioned, my office is very far. I took driving license as well as I will not say about like how it is far and do this thing, but yes, obviously I implemented myself. Like I have to upscale my knowledge, and it's not about the organization responsibility, it's our individual responsibility. As I mentioned in organization behavior, its personalities like individual, group, everything is there. As I
Yes.
initially when I started, I said like maybe we are a part of a school project and a corporate task or in a family decision, because I use this phrase precisely. So that's what I'm telling. Like when we it comes to the all these things, it's not about only organization. You should learn by your own. I know everyone is having their own obstacles. Everyone is having their own things. Everyone is having their own perspective. But learning is a one of the thing which is like till you are in the earth, till you die, you have to learn. There is no compromise. Even though if it is a small thing, even though a small learning for half an hour, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, it's up to you. But if your organization is giving, that's a benefit. That's a wonderful like thing like you were getting from the organization. If not, then you should do individual learning. And learning is like you are like even though in this or networking learning is there, so we are connected with each other, and you give me opportunity. This is also the live example I can say. You give me opportunity to speak about the organization behavior. So here also I learn something from you, from the audience, my wonderful audience. I learn from them, and even they are welcome to give me feedback also, because it's my learning. If I made a mistake, I can correct it in the next session, or I can correct in the next presentation. So that is what I can say. We have to learn till what we can learn, and it's all about your enthusiasm. It's all about your uh, key area where you want to grow. It's your individual choice, or maybe sometimes like some companies are giving the certificate CHRM course, SHRM course, or like Six Sigma. This kind of courses they are giving like to the employee to learn, to the supply chain management, marketing courses, the digital marketing courses. Of so many things are there to learn and grow. So what is my thought for learning? If you meet a person in a day, before going bed, like before going to sleep a bed, you should remember what you learn new thing, at least one or two things you should be, and you should appreciate yourself you learn something new, because every obstacles and everything give us a new learning. And if you are feel no, we are a stress, we cannot do anything, just think what you did good in a day. It will give you the positive vibes, positive hopes to do in a next day. Even though in the corporates also we are doing the same. We have to keep it in mind like our working day is Monday to Friday. So oh, today is a Monday. Oh, Monday is a very exhausted. We are all feel like we cannot go on Monday. Oh, how it is. And when it comes to the Friday, oh, only one day is there. Friday we have to go, and then another day is like our weekends. We all are in the weekend mood. So this is like something like we have to balance and we have to understand. If I'm talking about organization, yes, obviously organizations are doing this kind of activities, like they are giving so many certificates, trainings. Nowadays, like they are asking to keynote speakers also to give the trainings also in the organization to train their employees. So these are all things that matters for our like when you talk about the organization behavior.
Yeah, and I think I really experienced what you were saying a few minutes before. It's the employee who needs to also actually take the first step. Organization gives you the opportunities. They are a platform. They have resources. They have people who can support. They have counselors. They have assessment people who can really assess your progress. Everything is there. But then what you are doing as an employee, this is what you were speaking, and really you were speaking some brutal facts, I would say, because people these days think that when you are in a company, the company should provide you everything. Companies these days are providing everything. They are providing a platform, but then as an individual, what are you doing? What is the target which you are setting towards yourself with the help of the company to grow. I mean, this is where
Yeah.
what you were speaking, I would really resonate with what you were speaking in that sense. We are coming to the concluding part. I don't like conclusions, because this talk is so much very much really practical and very much in demand these days, because people really forget how to behave in organizations, and what expectations they have to get in with the culture of the organization. There are a lot of things to be discussed in OB, and we will be taking a second part of organizational behavior, a little bit deeper part, with case studies and a small panel also, experts like Nidhi joining us on a second phase of this particular discussion. Some other time, we would be coming up with the date and the time soon. And this is a great subject to be discussed. Nidhi, thanks for spending so much time with us on the Networking and Learning Group on a Saturday evening. Before closing out the session, your closing remarks on organizational
Yes.
behavior.
As we are uh, as we are wrap up today's session, I leave with one simple truth. Organization behavior is just not about theory. It's all about the transformation. It's about understanding what people think and what build great teams and the fuel high performing organizations. In a world that consistently changing across culture, across technology, across expectations, and those who understand people will always lead better. This is what I can say. So I invite you all, don't just learn OB, leave it, lead with it, and change with it. Thank you so much for your time and your presence and your participation. And please remember one thing, I am because we are. Thank you so much to my dynamic host, my dear friend Jason. And once again, thank you to entire NLG team. That's what I can say. Thank you so much. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much, everyone. A wonderful audience and Jason. Thank you.
Thank you, Nidhi. Thank you so much for joining us on this wonderful session.